Good morning, TikTok. This is your girl, Sherry Garland, the parent cater with my relaxation day, getting some things taken care of, bill pay day edition of Parenting Isn't for Punks. As a matter of fact, I was dressed and ready to go to my assignment. I called them and told them I would be a little late. They called me back a few minutes later and told me that the person decided to come in and I did not have to cover them. So I was excited because it's a good little drive and it wasn't really, I'm not dressed for the day. It's a cool day today and I have on like a summer dress. And so I had the opportunity to stop at Starbucks, drink my favorite latte, and listen to a post that was on Facebook. Well, there was a young man, a little boy, who told his stepmom, well, he told his dad he wanted to visit his mom for Mother's Day. And you hear the stepmom, laying him out for his choice. And she was really ugly to him about it. And no cursing or profanity, but just telling her how disappointed he was. And she is not your mom. And he said, yes, she is. And I was devastated. If you go on, I have it posted on my YouTube channel, which you can also see the reaction. But I want to address that because it's really more than just, being angry at a stepmom for what she did. I was very angry. And then I realized that if you really listen to her, there's a lot of things going on. First of all, stepmoms, and I am definitely one of those. I'm a stepmom to 2 sets of children, one from my first marriage and one from my second marriage. The one thing I never did, and I'm not boasting about myself, I'm just giving some parenting advice. The one thing I never did was allow the children, my husband's children, to disrespect or dishonor their mother. In the first situation, my first marriage, the mother was, she was on top of things. She was primary. She allowed him to come and spend time with us. She was not, needy in any way, or he was not lacking anything, but she allowed him to come and be a blessing to my life. And then my second situation, it was a similar kind of thing where the children were in some type of a bad situation, so to speak. But what happened was, I still never let that situation speak to who their mother was. The mother was still the mother that gave birth to them, that laid her life on the line to give birth to them. And they were also my husband's loves. He loves them. And as their stepmother, I cannot take the place of their mother, no matter how absent and she wasn't absent, but no matter how, whatever she was going through at the time, and they needed me to be there for them. They didn't need me to be their mother. They needed me to be their support system. They needed me to be a shoulder to lean on. They needed me to be the mother figure in their life. And I did the motherly things, but they did not need me to replace their mother. That's something you cannot do as a stepmother. Even if the parent is deceased, you cannot erase 9 months of nurturing in a womb. You cannot erase the very early years of that child, receiving, even if he was taken right away. There's still issues with that. I raised my nephew from the time he was 13 months, and he was very traumatized by not being with his mother, who was abusive. And so I want you to know that as a stepmother, that is exactly what it is. A stepmother is someone who steps in for the mother. The stepfather steps in for the father when the father can't be there. So that may be long term, that might be short term, that might be day to day, 9 to 5, or it might be night to night, or week to week, or it could be lifetime, but you're still the step. You step in, or you are a step away from natural. Either way you want to look at it. You're a step away from natural. So the natural parent should always be honored. Your job is not to compete with that. Your job is not to usurp yourself over that. There are times, like the gentleman said that posted it, there are times when the parent may not be safe for the child. In some cases, my situation, one of the situations, there were times when safety was an issue. However, we made provisions so that that child could see their parent. If they wanted to see their parent, they saw their parent. We didn't care about, oh, it's not your mother's turn. And we do know that there are some physical things that happen. For instance, structural situations where the home is not safe, or they're living in they're homeless, or they're living in shelters. Was not the case with my children, but there could be things that could be detrimental to the child. In that case, you support them in seeing their child and their parent. You support them. You do what you need to do to make sure it's a safe visit. If that means stopping by, bringing a gift, if that means meeting at a hotel, if that means if she lives in a halfway house, or she lives in a boarding house, or if she lives in a place that's not safe, you make sure that he sees you making the effort. We're going to tell her to meet us at such and such a place, and if she doesn't show up, then that's on her. Then he can see my stepmom made the difference. My stepmom tried it. And he might even blame you that she didn't. Well, you didn't take me there, and you explained it wasn't safe. I love you enough, but you never come in between a child and their natural parent. That is just not acceptable, especially when that parent is still alive. Yes, I love the stepmom's position in that she has been a mom. And that's big, because there are stepmoms and stepdads that are not stepmoms and stepdads. They're not stepping in. They're in the way. But in this case, obviously she's the provider. She makes sure he has what she needs. She loves him. She's hurt. But ma'am, as a grown woman dealing with children, he sounds very young. I would say I wouldn't put him over 12. He sounds anywhere between 8 to 12. But you should never try to take the place or say to a child that is not your mother. I pray that she learns from these comments. I pray that she revisits this. I pray that she heals from this, and I pray that she lets him heal from this. I pray the gentleman said, oh, well, the dad is going to come home and he's going to deal with you. I don't know. For her to be able to say what she said and do what she did, I don't think so. I think the dad gives her authority and might even agree with her. But I pray that that little boy receives some type of support in seeing his mother. And I pray that his mother days in the future will be one that he would not have to make a choice. Let me share my testimony real quick in this last minute. My mom and dad divorced when I was doggone grown and out the house. My kids, I think, were about grown. And when I would come visit my mom, she would say things like, oh, you're going to see your dad? And she would say it in a way to let me know that she was disappointed. And even though she didn't stop me or say she was disappointed, I felt the fact that she didn't want me, because I would live far away and I would only come 2 or 3 times a year, and she wanted me to spend all the time I could with her. And I would say, yes, I'm going to see my dad. And I would feel such a pull and such an anxiety about it. So as a grown woman and a grandmother, I think I had a couple of grandkids. Yeah, I did. As a matter of fact, I did have some grandkids. I felt horrible having to choose. Please don't make your children choose. I have a book on Amazon called Overstepping. That is a great book for you to read. It gives step parenting, blended family advice. Look it up on Amazon. Overstepping. Myself and my god sister wrote it. Colleen, can't think of her last name right now. And her married last name. And Sherry Garland. Sherry spelled Cherie. Garland wrote the book Overstepping. Colleen Lawrence. All right. God bless you, and I pray for that little boy that he heals from this trauma.